This is the answer key to the Algebra 1 spiral number 10 on literal equations. Solving, rewriting literal equations for the variable that is indicated. So let's go through these. Step 1 is to isolate the term that contains your variable, minus 2x minus 2x. Negative 3y equals to the constant at the end, negative 2x plus 8. Every term gets divided by negative 3. Y equals negative over negative is positive 2/3 x minus 8 over 3. Number 1. Number 2. Solving for x. So I isolate the term. There's 1, 2, 3 terms. Isolate the term that contains that variable. Y minus b equals mx. Then divide by m. You can just divide this whole side by m since it's all variables anyway. X equals y minus b all over m. If I want to use the symmetric property, it's the same thing. Just rearranging them, either one of these would be okay. Number 3, solving for x again. My first suggestion is to get rid of the fraction, multiplied by the reciprocal, times 3 over 4. That cancels that cancels that. And I have just xy equals 3a all over 4. Divide this by a y. And if I divide this by y, there's a little quick trick we could use. If it's a fraction over or being divided by something, this guy's dividing, simply go in the denominator. If you don't like that, 3a over 4 divided by y, which is the same thing, is really 3a over 4 multiplied by the reciprocal, which is 3a all over y. So 4y. 4 times y is 4y. So now this is what I got when I did this side. So it's x equals, this is equivalent to, again, 3a all over 4y. That's a tricky one, but again, just a math trick you could use. If you divide, this denominator just goes into the denominator again. Number 4 says to solve for y again. It says to isolate the term that contains my variable. You might think that these are two different terms, but they're actually not. You might be tempted to subtract x. Remember, x is positive, but you actually have to separate them first by multiplying by 2, multiply by 2. And now we have 2a equals x minus y. Now we can separate the terms. Again, subtract x, because the x is actually positive, so y is negative. Negative y equals 2a minus x. We're still not done. 2a minus x equals negative y, because this is negative. It's to solve for y, not negative y. Huge mistake if students think that this is their answer, or they just don't even write the negative part. They just assume it's positive. It's not. Divide every term by negative 1. That's how we can get rid of that negative part. Y equals negative 2a plus x. So negative divided by negative is positive. You need to do that if you want to be correct and accurate. 5. Solving for x. 1, 2, 3 terms. Isolate the term that contains my variable. Minus by on both sides. Ax equals c minus by. You can just divide the whole thing by a since it's all variables. X equals c minus by all over a. Number 6. Different variables, and it's just to solve for I. It's in the denominator, so it's kind of tricky, but let's get rid of that whole fraction thing. Multiply by I and multiply by I. It's still I times R, so we're not done, but at least now we can solve for I a little bit easier. Divide by R, do the opposite. I equals E all over R. For number 6. Number 7 says to solve for B. Again, you might be tempted to subtract C, but we're not ready for that because they're technically held together by this. Let's get rid of the fraction. Times 2 over 1 times 2 over 1 is just 2. 2a equals h times b plus c. Again, you might be tempted to subtract the c, but we're not ready to do that yet because it's all held together by the h. Let's divide by h, divide by h. Now we just have b plus c equals 2a all over h. Now I can subtract c from both sides. b equals 2a over h minus c. That's my equation. 8. Solving for x again. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. I just need to get rid of things that are not my variable. This is my variable of terms, so I add y and subtract z. I can do that at the same time because they just get rid of each other. 2x equals 2 plus y minus z. And then divide every term by 2. X equals 2 divided by 2 is 1 plus y over 2 minus z over 2. Again, x equals 1 plus y over 2 minus z over 2. I'm going to have to rewrite number 9, which is x equals 2y minus z all over 4. Let me just check to make sure that's correct. 2y minus z all over 4. That's right. Solving for z, you might be tempted to subtract 2y, but again, we're not ready for that. It's held together by 4, so we multiply by 4 and separate the two terms. 4x equals 2y minus z. Again, you might say, oh, the 2y, I just add that, but the z is what's negative, so I subtract 2y, subtract 2y. 4x minus 2y equals negative z, and that's one of the big issues that students often forget. They forget that it's negative. You're not done. You can't just cross off the negative. It is still a negative. We don't want to solve for negative z, so we divide every term by -1. That cancels out that negative part. Z equals -4. Negative divided by negative is a positive 2y. Negative 4x plus 2y equals z. That was for number 9. Number 10 says to solve for m. This is sort of a tricky one, but here's a little trick. Here's a little throwback. You can always cross multiply. M times xy is mxy. And p, I can't tell what that is, pw times t is just going to be pwt. Now to solve for m, just divide by xy, divide by xy, m equals pwt all over xy. It's actually a pretty easy question if you know to cross multiply. Similar for 11, looks harder because r is in the denominator, but let's just get it out of the denominator. R times x equals yx. Divide by x, divide by x. R equals, well, x divided by x is 1, so r must equal y. And number 12, v equals pi r squared h, which is the formula for the volume of a cylinder. Solve for r squared. V equals pi times r squared times h. So I want to solve for r squared. This term has already been isolated. Let me just divide by pi and h. Divide by pi and h. R squared equals v over pi times h. And that's my solved equation for number 12.